So we touched on in the intro about the current shift of political winds, and it's kind of the nicest way to say that. We are seeing obviously a lot of people online talking about the lack of hope and feeling hopeless because there are powers that are actively taking away rights and targeting groups in our community. And that's really fucking hard. And I wanted to add a bit of a part at the end of this episode in line with what we're talking about the power that you have and stepping into your power, to remind you that if you are feeling hopeless, remember that we build hope by fighting for hope. These next 4 years might feel daunting, but disengaging and switching off is not the answer. That's actually what they want you to do. By throwing in the towel, you kind of give them the permission to take. Social media is wonderful in certain ways, and we can connect and find community on social media. And marching down the street for a cause is also super powerful. We love those things. We do those things. We'll be standing next to you doing those things. They're great for awareness and connection. But as we've seen and discussed on this episode, change happens through sustained strategic action. So I wanted to kind of talk about some accessible and practical ways to reclaim power. And there's a lot of them. Before we kind of dig into, I really wanted to speak about why local action matters. We look at these big national elections and you go, I don't have any influence. I have no say. I am just a single person. How can I make a difference? And progressives have faced a decline over the last 4 decades because of a shift away from deep organizing, like the really kind of coming together and moving institutions, into shallow mobilizing. That's like the social media campaigns you see. It's good for connecting, but it's not making shifts. Folks on the right, if they do have one thing they do really, really well, they have mastered this strategy, is they understand that real change happens in places like school boards, city councils, committee rooms. They dissect power structures, map networks, and input themselves into those rooms where decisions are being made, which should give you a little bit of hope because change isn't out of reach. Many of these actions are more accessible than they seem. Signing up for a committee, writing an email, running for a local board might feel intimidating, but it's just a matter of showing up.
I might add there, Chad, as well. There might be people on those committees, in those groups, that you disagree with, but it's important that we put ourselves in those spaces.
There's definitely a bit of a trend of disengaging with people who disagree with you. And I get that for protecting your mental health or your sanity or your capacity. That I get that. However, again, we talk often about trying to be pragmatic and making change. And sometimes it's about being in the same room as those people and changing hearts and minds and being really thoughtful and empathetic. We are not born with hate in our hearts. Hate is learned. And sometimes people don't recognize that those things could be seen as hate. Everyone is the hero of their own story. And so how can we engage with those people and collaborate with those people who have power or step in the room with power? So here's a few ways to take local political action.